He broke down the door.
Breach, breach, breach.
Paddock was already dead.
Just some chilling new details tonight. Matt Gutman with us live here in Las Vegas. And Matt, we know the gunman stayed in that room undetected for days, those suitcases full of weapons, even ordering room service several times.
That's right, David. Room service. In fact, the sheriff saying that multiple hotel employees had been in that room before the shooting, which begs the major question, given how elaborate Paddock's setup had been with those 10 cases of luggage, the 23 firearms, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and of course those cameras, how nobody noticed anything suspicious. David.
Yeah, somehow it went unnoticed. Matt Gutman leading us off. Matt, thank you. And there was another major development late today. The gunman's longtime girlfriend, Marilou Danley, right now out of the country, is now being called a person of interest tonight. ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross.
Authorities tonight labeled the shooter's girlfriend, Marilou Danley, as central to the ongoing investigation, much more than simply another witness.
Currently, she's a person of interest.
Especially after the discovery by police of so many weapons, so much ammunition and explosives at the home they shared in Mesquite, Nevada.
How could she not know what was going on in her own house with these weapons? She had to know something, at the very least question him as to where are these weapons coming from? Why do you have all these weapons?
According to documents obtained by ABC News, Danley, who uses an Australian passport, traveled to her home country, the Philippines, 2 weeks before the shooting on September 15th. Paddock actually visited her family in the Philippines 4 years ago. One of them posted these photos on Facebook. Now U.S. officials want to know why Paddock began to transfer tens of thousands of dollars to someone in the Philippines just prior to the shooting.
Well, I anticipate a substantial amount of information to come in the next 48 hours.
According to relatives, Danley apparently met Paddock at this hotel casino in Reno, where she worked as a hostess to entertain high rollers like Paddock. Employees at this bar in Mesquite and former neighbors say the couple were regulars, drinking beer and tequila and playing video poker and the slots.
So he just one time, pulled his phone out and said, here's a picture of the slot machine where we won $20,000.
Brian Ross joins us live tonight. And Brian, we heard your report there that authorities are now calling the shooter's girlfriend a person of interest. They're making plans for her to return to the U.S.?
Yes, David, the FBI is actually involved in making sure she gets on a plane to come back to the U.S., which we're told could happen in the next 24 hours, David.
Brian Ross again tonight. For the first time, we were given access today to one of the trauma wards at a hospital right here in Las Vegas. One of the surgeons taking us from room to room, and we met the survivors. One of them, a 19-year-old girl, brought on the back of a pickup truck. The ER suddenly overflowing. Doctors didn't even know who they were operating on. It was happening so fast. They simply moved in and saved lives. We head into Desert Springs Hospital Medical Center here in Las Vegas, where more than 100 victims were rushed in.
So have you caught your breath at all?
Peter Caravella is a surgeon here who got the emergency call at 11 o'clock Sunday night.
We got here, there was probably 50 or 60 people in the ER.
There were 50 or 60 people here already?
Already, before we got here.
It sounds as though there were so many patients you didn't even have time. You didn't even know who these patients were.
Had no idea. The ER docs really did a great job. They basically triaged everybody and said, this one's critical, this one needs this one needs that, and we basically just went bed to bed to bed.
4 of the victims were pronounced dead shortly after they arrived here. So many of the patients with multiple gunshot wounds. And this surgeon tells me this time it was different.
Oh my God.
We saw different pieces of the machinery and artillery that were basically dispersed throughout the abdomen, chest.
So it appeared as though this suspect wanted to inflict maximum damage here.
Clearly.
The surgeon takes us into Sheldon Mack's room, one of the patients he helped save. Sheldon was at the concert for his 21st birthday.
Sheldon.
It's kind of all happened so fast and it seems surreal. It seems just a bad nightmare I'm waking up from, but I just keep seeing it in my mind still, and it's just haunts me.
You see it all playing out still?
Yeah.
He showed me the video he took of the concert just moments before the gunfire began.
And you were seeing people around you
Yeah,
get
I saw
hit first?
a girl like 2 rows ahead of me, and she got hit in the neck and went down.
Sheldon began trying to help the people around him, and then he got shot twice, in the arm and in the abdomen.
Some hero come and save me and throw me and take care of me. Which,
do you know his name?
I wish I did.
And he came all the way to the hospital with you?
Yeah, he wouldn't leave my side. He saved my life.
He tells us he still wants to meet that hero, and his mom and dad would like to meet him too. They know their son still has so many questions, among them, why?
He was saying, you know, why would someone do this, such evil? You know, I have a life ahead of me. Why does someone want to kill me and leave me lying on this field and everybody else?
There was McKenna Perry, too. She is just 19 years old, shot in the arm. It then went straight through to her abdomen. It was her boyfriend and Good Samaritans who helped save her, putting her in the back of a truck.
Were you in the back of a pickup truck?
Yeah. He only had like a two-seater truck, so I was laying in the bed with his girlfriend and my boyfriend.
In the back?
Yeah.
And it was open?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever it takes. I mean, I'm glad it got you here.
She can't get that night out of her head.
I don't know, like it still hasn't like fully hit me. Like it's kind of starting to, but not fully.
It's hard to even think about.
I just know that there's a lot of people that had it a lot worse. So it's kind of just like hard to know that there's a lot of people dead from it too.
And her mother was at the concert too.
And your daughter was saying the hard part is knowing that so many people didn't get out.
I think that's the hard part for all of us, and seeing what we saw, and I think as a mom is knowing that they had to see that, and that stuck with them forever.
The surgeon told us that both of those patients are going to be okay, and they're grateful to those doctors and nurses. And as for Sheldon, he wants to meet that hero who was right there by his side. They believe that the hero was grazed by a bullet too, but is no longer at the hospital. So if that hero is watching tonight, Sheldon's family wants to thank you. We turn now to President Trump in Puerto Rico today, meeting with officials, including the mayor of San Juan. She went on live TV begging the administration for help, and he then took aim at her on Twitter. He also tweeted of Puerto Rico, they want everything done for them. What his message was today when he landed there, ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl from Puerto Rico.
There's never been a presidential visit to a disaster zone quite like this one. At a church in San Juan, President Trump tossed paper towels to hurricane victims as if he were playing basketball.
There's a lot of love in this room.
Sitting right next to Puerto Rico's governor, he touted the death count as if he were keeping score.
If you look at a real catastrophe like Katrina, and you look at the tremendous hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that died, what is your death count as of this moment, 17?
16 certified.
16 people certified. 16 people versus in the thousands. You can be very proud.
And even as he talked up the federal recovery effort,
the whole team has been amazing.
The president couldn't help bringing up the high cost.
I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack.
Also in the room, the mayor of San Juan, who the president has slammed relentlessly on Twitter for saying Puerto Rico needs more than it's getting. Afterwards, the mayor called the meeting productive, but on CNN, she dismissed the presidential visit as public relations.
Rather than commander-in-chief, he sort of becomes miscommunicator-in-chief.
But not far from there, we met up with Hector Garcia. He had no idea the president was on the island, but he tells us he's happy he's here. He came here, Garcia told us, because he knows we're in crisis.
David, the governor is being diplomatic tonight. He says he appreciates the president's visit and his commitment to the island of Puerto Rico. He wants to see relief efforts continue, including things like the U.S. Naval Hospital ship Comfort behind me. This just got here today, 2 weeks after the storm hit the island. David?
John Karl, our thanks to you tonight. And we wanted to let everyone at home know that we were in Puerto Rico over the weekend when the shooting broke out here in Las Vegas. And before we left to come here, we had gone to a neighborhood just a short drive from where the president was today. Nearly 2 weeks after the hurricane, we discovered families in sweltering heat, no power, no running water, and a call for help. We went looking for an apartment building just 15 minutes from the airport in San Juan.
Buena tardes.
Because we had heard that nearly 2 weeks after the hurricane hit, they were still without power and without running water. We walk up this darkened stairwell and down the hallway.
Lisbeth?
Hola. Lisbeth Vasquez Delgado lives in New York City, but she is here, taking care of her parents. The president had tweeted just days ago, all buildings now inspected. And we wondered, have they seen any emergency officials or any members of the government here? We had heard that inspectors had been visiting some of these buildings all over Puerto Rico. Have you seen any inspectors?
No, not at all. They have not come to see what has happened to these apartments.
No one has come?
No one has come.
And how much food and water have they brought?
None.
Nothing.
None at all.
And with no power, no clean drinking water. Can you drink the water?
No, we cannot. At all.
Inside her parents' tiny apartment, their windows still blown out by Hurricane Maria. And in the bedroom, her parents, Elmer and Gloria, on the bed, in need of medication. This was the first day any doctor had paid a visit. El primer día.
Yeah, primer día, yeah.
This is the first medicine?
This is the first medicine.
And it's Motrin.
I had a piece of bread, half of bread, and I shared it with like 4 apartments.
Down the hallway, we see other residents, some carrying flashlights, and we head into one of those apartments where we meet a woman Lisbeth has been sharing her bread and water with. Maria Diaz is 70, and she tells us she's been drinking the water from the faucet, even though she knows it's not safe. She holds an empty bottle of water, telling us it cost $6. With little food and no clean water, she is panic-stricken, telling me, I don't want to die here. In so many of these apartment buildings, they are unaware of the FEMA help because they have no power, no access to the news. And tonight, just 7% of the island has power back. This building does not. A generator is turned on a couple of hours a night. And we walk up the stairs knowing there are 13 stories in this building. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien.
Bien?
Bien chava porque no hemos comido.
No comido. Again, they tell us, no food. Down the hall, you can see the destruction through the window. We step over a doorway blown in by the hurricane. Floor after floor, we hear the same concerns. Well, back down on the 4th floor, Lisbeth, sharing what little bread she has and a slice of cheese with her neighbor.
And I'm not only asking for my parents. There's a lot of people here that don't have family.
And we checked back in with them this afternoon. They are still asking for help tonight. There is still much more ahead on this special edition of World News Tonight this Tuesday. The pressure bomb explosion in New York City. New surveillance tonight, never before seen video when one of those bombs was set off. Also the new health headline tonight about your weight and cancer. And we celebrate Tom Petty, some of his most famous songs. A lot more news ahead.